The week-long Israeli offensive in the Gaza Strip is continuing amid international demands for a ceasefire. In response to the airstrikes, Hamas has increased its rocket attacks on Israel. The Palestinian death toll is now over 400 people, 25% of which are civilians, according to the UN. 4 Israelis have also been killed in the conflict. The Israeli assault began on the 27th of December with a series of airstrikes on the Strip after a 6-month ceasefire ended on December 19.
أؤكد على أن خيار المقاومة بكافة أشكالها يجب أن يكون سيد الموقف في حماية الشعب الفلسطيني والرد على هذا العدوان وتحميل الاحتلال الصهيوني ضريبة ما يقومون به من إجرام يعني مبرمج ومنهج يستهدف أبناء شعبنا.
Israel expects the support and the understanding of the international community. The international community understands that Hamas is an extreme Islamist organization that spread its hatred in the entire region, which is being supported by Iran, and the international community needs to understand that this is the translation of the right of Israel to defend itself, that there is no other alternative, and we are doing what we need to do in order to defend our citizens.
The past week has witnessed protests against the violence staged across the world. Israel put the Gaza Strip under siege after Hamas aborted a Fatah coup and took control of Gaza in 2007.
Our decisions today decide that it's declaring that Gaza Strip is a hostile territory, and the meaning is that even though when it comes to the humanitarian needs we have our own responsibility, on the other hand all the needs which are more than the humanitarian needs will not be supplied by Israel to Gaza Strip. We do hope that the situation in Gaza Strip will change in the future, and also the Palestinians understand that supporting these kind of terrorists are not going to help them.
The siege created a humanitarian crisis, according to the UN. Israel also cut off the fuel and electricity from the Strip. Here's what a UN official had to say.
Gaza is completely locked up, it's completely closed down. None of our humanitarian goods or workers can get in or out. I would say that this can only make a dire humanitarian situation even worse. Our experience is that this radicalizes an already demoralized and isolated population, and the radicalization of Gaza does not serve the interests of peace.
بعدين مش على قد الخبز يعني البنزين مقطوع، الكهرباء قاطعة، الغاز مقطوع.
Israel occupied the Gaza Strip in the 1967 Six-Day War and withdrew in 2005. Hamas is a movement founded in 1987 during the first Palestinian uprising against the Israeli occupation. It is considered a terrorist organization by the United States and Israel, as well as other countries. In 2006, the group won the parliamentary elections. Official reactions from the international community have been mixed, with the United States blaming Hamas for the conflict, while Arabs blame Israel for the violence.
Hamas has once again shown its true colors as a terrorist organization that refuses to even recognize Israel's right to exist. In order for the violence to stop, Hamas must stop firing rockets into Israel and agree to respect a sustainable and durable ceasefire.
طالب المجلس بالوقف الفوري العدوان الإسرائيلي على قطاع غزة ودعوة مجلس الأمن الدولي بالانعقاد فوراً لاستصدار قرار دولي لإيقاف القتال وحماية الشعب الفلسطيني.
The conflict has made the siege even worse for the people of Gaza. Hospitals are finding themselves unable to cope with increasing number of injuries and deaths in the Strip.
Started 2 days ago, and it was so hard that we were rushed by cases which are very complicated, serious cases, and dead bodies reached the hospitals at once, hundreds of them, dozens. And everybody was just thrown on the ground like that, and we were just running between them like a chicken without head, just in order to save lives as much as we can.
Meanwhile, as the conflict rages on, civilians on both sides of the border are living in fear of the next attack. Schools in the south of Israel have closed down, and Palestinians are trapped with nowhere to escape the attacks.
שיבואו יראו את המצב שלנו בשדרות הוא על הפנים, אין לנו לאן לחזור, אין לנו לאן ללכת עכשיו, אין לי בית. הנה, הבית...
7 of us were sleeping in a room when we heard the explosion. The walls collapsed around us. It took 2 hours to get help, but my sisters did not make it. It was too late.
We don't have water. We can't wash anything, not even clean the fish we managed to get days ago. Look here. This is shrapnel from an Israeli missile that fell nearby. It broke the window.
How many more civilians must suffer before this conflict can finally be resolved? Nadia Al-Demirdash, Soliya News Network.